little bit of pressure on him. Is that a Kappa I see in the background of Powder there?
Yeah, in the last game he had a just an SK Gaming logo on that monitor or TV or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. In this one he decided to put up a Kappa, I suppose. So
yeah. Again, I love Powder as a player. I'm a big fan. Plays really well. Love to see him slow down just a tiny bit in a spot or two. Also, this Arch Thief Rafam that we're seeing in his hand, because this is Control Warrior. Might as well just get it out of the way and try to get that win right away. This card was underwhelming in his matches early. If you remember, like none of the options were good in the spots that he was in. But this matchup against RDU and his lineup, it's going to be quite different than his first one with Kranich.
Yeah. But, mid-range Shaman that RDU has, and that we've seen a few times today, it does pretty well against Control Warrior, and it always has classically done well against that deck. So, definitely right
before Standard came out, I remember there was a lot of Control Warrior towards the end of that, like all over ladder and everything. And it was like Amnesiac and Eversiction were like playing mid-range Shaman before the new cards even came out. Before you had Thing from Below, before you had like all these other options that you have. And they were just crushing this matchup. And I had never actually seen the matchup because it was around, before my time in Hearthstone. And they kept talking about, they're like, yeah, it's almost unwinnable. Like the Warrior could just save time by conceding in some spots.
Mm-hmm. Once again, RDU looks like he's wearing a disguise. I know that's you under that facial hair, RDU.
Yeah, the nice little. I mean, dude, I think he looks great. Look at him. He's got his nice little well-kept facial hair, the nice rimmed glasses. His hair looks great. I mean,
he looks like a young kid disguising himself as an older gentleman. I don't know. Just can't get past it. No, I love RDU. The facial hair suits him.
Yeah, he's sick and tired of getting carded everywhere he goes. He wants to look his age. He's like, I need to look a little more, refined. You cannot slam yourself here, Powder. All right, there we go. Let's say we got to get the right target.
Ooh, that's a great draw. Fiery War Axe off the tippity top.
Off the Tizop.
Yeah. It will not reach a premature end as he's overloaded because of the Feral Spirits.
Mm-hmm. Coin into Harrison Jones would have been pretty good this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been a great tempo play. Would have saved his minion and put a 5/4 into play, drawing a card. But alas, this is what happens when you're playing Shaman. You're going to be overloaded at times. And RDU's kind of got the setup to get one of those big, burst turns. He's got 2 Rock Biters and a Primal Infusion in his hand. There could be a turn where he does, upwards of 15 to 20 damage to Powder to finish this game.
Yeah, very true. And, totems just have so much value in this matchup because, one, they have synergy with Thunderbluff Valiant. I'm pretty sure RDU runs at least one copy of that. They have value with Thing from Below. They also are just really hard for Warriors to remove. They don't want to spend weapon charges. They don't run many creatures that can act as totem killers. Mm-hmm. Brawl on a board full of totems never feels that great. I mean, it's probably the best brawl you're going to get, but it's not ideal. Yeah. So, there's just a lot going on.
Should we stop calling this mid-range Shaman and start calling it Totem Shaman? Let's call a deck what it is.
Totem Shaman. Yeah, sure.
This is a synergy deck, and you know what? I kind of like this play, kind of like for what you said. This puts the most power in play, gets the Flankton Totem. This isn't the greatest brawl in the world, but I mean, he'll take it. Actually, this is a pretty decent brawl. I mean, you get, hopefully for you, the Flankton Totem and the Thing from Below.
Mm.
It looks like he actually just might Justicar Trueheart here. Not a bad play either.
The thing is, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 15. Okay, 25 plus Rockbiter. Bloodlust off the top would have ended the game. It would have been exactly lethal.
I wonder if Powder went back and watched and knew that there's a Bloodlust in RDU's deck.
He has to have known. I mean, it's getting late in Europe, but it's not getting that late.
Yeah. No, we've seen
Europe right now.
I mean, Powder's known to take some risk in game too, and honestly, is it really that big a risk? I mean, they have to have the one card there. I mean, there is a ton of cards in RDU's hand.
They'd have to have exactly Bloodlust and Rockbiter.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that's a pretty good spot to just slam a Justicar if you think it's the right play.
Mm-hmm.
RDU gets a pretty good value trade in here for the Shaman deck, and you know what? I kind of like just pushing a bunch of damage here and passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he didn't want to brawl this board before, let him brawl it now. I mean, you get a bunch of damage out of it. You get a bunch of tempo out of it. Oh man, if Powder Gorehowl's here, I mean, there's like no way.
There's no way. Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, there's no way.
I understand the just Gartura last turn, but if he Gorehowled this turn, I would just I don't even know what I would do.
Yeah, it's suicidal, right?
But Brawl is fantastic there. Takes out a Flame Tongue Totem.
Ooh, there's the Bloodlust.
It was just 2 turns away. That's it.
He's building up to that though.
So he'll be overloaded for 2 next turn, going into 8 mana, which makes off 6 total. So Bloodlust Rockbiter is a possibility. Bloodlust Rockbiter would be 6 plus 15. That'd be 21, 24. But no. 5, so it's 19. He's so close though.
So
12 is 16 plus Rockbiter is 19.
What happens if you Bloodlust plus Primal Infusion? Because Primal Infusion's plus 2 here.
Rockbiter
and then
damage.
Yeah, and then you have double Rockbiter in your hand for next turn.
But then even just tank up gets him out of range.
Powder's tank up, yeah. I'm trying to think there's a creative way to lethal over 2 turns here. Now you do have the Hex if you want to take care of Grom here as well. And you can kind of develop a little more.
Yeah, he could just Hex and Totem Golem.
I wonder.
Yeah, I think if you overload yourself for 1 next turn, you can still do like Bloodlust Rockbiter shenanigans. Yeah, so I kind of like this too. You can go ahead and just go ahead and totem up here as well. It makes a bigger Primal Infusion, gets in some damage this turn, and it makes more damage next turn as well because you have the Primal Infusion still. Ooh, a second Brawl drawn from Powder here if he wants to take care of this board, but looks like he's gonna Gorehowl. Gorehowl, tank up, puts him to, goes on to 15, goes up to 19, so he's got 3, 4, 5, plus 12, that's 17, plus Rockbiter. Yeah, I think this is lethal for RDU. Bloodlust plus Rockbiter. Powder is in a familiar spot here. He cannot find a win here with his Control Warrior.
Yeah. Pretty brutal stuff. I'm sorry, I dropped out there. Powder is, he's got to be feeling. I even said this in the last series. He has to be, regretting his decision to bring the Control Warrior because he lost 3 out of the 4 losses in his first series of the day. He lost with Control Warrior, and now he's losing again. And you have to sort of think, did he take unnecessary damage by waiting a turn to Brawl? Did he play a little bit too greedy there at the end? There's a lot of decision making, and he did play really fast. You said earlier you'd like to see him slow down a bit. He did play really fast. I'm not sure if any of those could be considered misplays. That is a bad matchup, so maybe you just sort of chalk that up to that's a bad matchup. We'll go in and win the next one. So not quite sure, but now he's got to sort of go back to the drawing board and think, how am I going to win? I have these control decks, and my opponent has all these, fast decks that could punish me. How's it going to look?
Another thing I'd like to mention is, did you see the posture the players had there? And then, RDU's, sitting up in his chair, thinking about, his stuff, thinking about his next plays. Well, I see Powder, looks a little defeated. And it's kind of hard not to be. I mean, this Control Warrior deck has just let him down time and time and time again today. And it's hard not to get down on yourself. So I'd like to see him, kind of gather himself. And do you have the feed right now?
No, I do not.
But we're having a slight problem with Skype here. We're going to get it up just as soon as we can, guys. But TJ and I have lost a feed to the match here. Looks like they're working on it right now, so it should be only just a second. We are limited by the technology that we use.
Indeed. And, all right, got it back. All right, it looks like we're in the match, so, Warlock versus Warlock, and this is the Reno Cthulhu Warlock that we saw from Powder earlier on, and this is just the Zoo Warlock that we've seen from RDU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Demon Wrath not going to do a whole lot of work on this board, so he's going to have to go ahead and just put this Imp King boss into play.
Yeah.
RDU's got a pretty decent one here. He's got a lot of cheap interaction. Not a lot of great ways to deal with what's going on here. I mean, he could Soulfire this Imp King boss. It's going to leave behind a 1/1. This would cost him a card here, so if he's going to do that, you got to believe that he's going to possess Villager as well. But does he want to give up on Councilman?
That's a tough thing to give up on, especially at the 5 health mark. It's so hard to deal with, especially with a Woodwalker sort of protecting it. And you want to get that out sort of before you reload.
Yeah, I think it's...
if you get it out now, it means that you're even more likely to be in a better spot to use Soulfire next turn to maybe clear, but maybe you want to use it as burn, I don't know. But I think Councilman's the best.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I like Councilman here, and then possibly drop your entire hand next turn and Soulfire, but maybe RDU's got other things in mind. He's gonna go ahead and just tap this turn and use Soulfire. Don't blame him from here. That card is... Imp-Gang Boss is kind of a big problem for his deck to deal with here. And it's going to put Powder in kind of a rough situation here, too. And this guarantees that RDU gets to keep the Lord. Oh, that was a big top deck for possibly next turn from RDU. My dog enjoyed that top deck as well. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Franker Z. Oh, man, I was supposed to say Kappa, but...
Yeah, I always did the same thing. I just keep seeing the Kappa in the background of Powder, but Franker Z definitely agreed with us on that match. I mean, on that draw. He liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, RDU saw a tap pass, so how much does he want to extend here? And it's just going to be the Councilman. Now this makes Powder's decision a lot tougher, because if he Hellfires, he brings himself down to 11 with a Councilman on the board.
Yeah,
that's a lot of damage.
I'll say. Oh! That's... I know you're holding your breath. That's not lethal just yet, right? But there is a taunt that could be in the way next turn, so...
It's pretty dang close. I think this turn you just go ahead and Flame Juggler, Direwolf Alpha. And this is going to push, what, 5 damage?
Yeah, 4 from Councilman, 1 from Flame Juggler here. So Leroy is lethal next turn. Powder is down to 6 on his turn 5. Who said aggro is dead?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he lives.
Yeah, I mean, he can Demon Wrath here, plus a 6 Swamp Ooze, I guess. God, all of his options are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to see that he is in a quick 2-0 hole here.
I feel bad for Powder at this point now. It's like he's... I don't know. You can even say... Look, see the look on his face. It's just so brutal. Both games now, like... Yeah. It's almost impossible for him to play around all these scenarios that are happening to him. Like, we thought, oh, maybe he's playing too fast, but that game was just, like, I want to say unwinnable. I hate saying that because there's so many games and so many decisions that go into Hearthstone. There's very rarely a game that's unwinnable. But that was just pretty unwinnable, I'd say. So, not too much going on there. But RDU is going to take a quick 2-0 lead now. In the series. He's got Tempo Mage and the Miracle Rogue left remaining, and lots of good matchups to use those decks against.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm a big fan of this Tempo Mage deck. It's nice to see something a little different. You know, most of the time when you see Mage decks right now, it's Freeze Mage, but RDU's brought Tempo Mage here today with some new cards in it. It's pretty exciting.
New cards,
cheer up, man. Huh?
New cards, you say?
Yeah, some old gods cards.
Yeah. All right, well, he's going to throw out the Rogue, and Powder is going to throw out the Control Warrior. So, classically, this matchup was considered pretty favored for the Control Warrior, but...
Well, it matters who you ask. If you talk to a Rogue player, they're always favored.
Yeah, if you talk to a Rogue player, they're like, oh, yeah, 55-45, every matchup. They're like, oh, yeah, Rogue's favorite, 55-45. Every single time you ask them about any matchup. But, nowadays, I think Rogue is pretty heavily favored. Against the Control Warrior, because Control Warrior doesn't have enough proactive threats, and Rogue has so many powerful minions that Warrior just doesn't have good stuff to line up against. They have Tomb Pillager, which is hard to deal with because Deathbite's gone. You know, they have Azure Drake, which is hard to deal with because Deathbite's gone. They have Gadgetzan Auctioneer, which is hard to deal with because Deathbite's gone.
I'm seeing a theme. I'm hearing a theme.
And they also there's not really a good way to deal with a Concealed Auctioneer aside from a Ragnaros or a Lucky Brawl. Like, that's it. And a lot of times you don't have enough mana to throw a minion in and brawl the same turn. So you really have to have Ragnaros. And I don't even know if Powder has that in his deck. So it's possible if you build up enough life. Sometimes you can run the Rogue out of damage. If you have enough removal early on and the Rogue whiffs on their Gadgetzans, then sometimes you can win, but it's very hard. Very hard.
Yeah, RDU is so aggressive. To see how long he contemplated coining out Edwin Van Cleef on turn 3, I mean, it's really weak to just armor up Shield Slam. You know, you just kind of lose on the spot because you don't have a play for turn 3. But actually, he's going to go ahead and make a 6/6 Van Cleef here, and this actually curves really well in this Tomb Pillager.
And how do you deal with this? And you don't. You throw Bloodhoof Brave in, and it just gets killed by a 6/6.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see it on Powder's face. He's like, my opening hand was bad. He's Van Cleefing, you know, very largely on turn 3. Like, what else could just go wrong? Like, I mean, if you're Powder, you're gonna feel like the whole world is conspiring against you at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That sap could be huge against this Bloodhoof Brave.
Yeah, but the sap at the moment doesn't really accomplish much. You can sap Cold Blood and push 10, but is that worth it? Is that better than just playing Tomb Pillager? And
no,
I
mean,
just don't think it is.
No, you definitely play Tomb Pillager. I mean, against the Bloodhoof Brave that's possibly coming down next turn.
Oh yeah, but I was just thinking, like, is there merit to sapping? Like, what is he thinking about in this situation?
Yeah, I think sapping his turn is, like you said, it doesn't accomplish enough. It's just a little too aggressive. I mean, if the minion directly challenged Van Cleef, obviously you'd be sapping, but you know, he needs multiple things here, and if he's gonna run his Elise into your guide plus use like Fiery War Axe to trade here, I think you're actually like kind of excited about that and how much damage you're getting in.
Yeah. And this is a lot of damage.
Yeah, speaking of damage, this is a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah. He's got 10 damage on the board, and he's got Leroy Coldblood in hand, so it's another 10. So he's got 25 damage, 20 damage total, and he needs to get to 25. So the thing is, like, how do you space this out? Do you just Phantom Knives and evaluate? You Phantom Knives Sap, you Phantom Knives Dagger up and start pushing.
Eviscerate. SS7 agent doesn't get through. I mean, I guess you could just push 11 and dagger up here.
Yeah.
Or do you trade into a Tomb Pillager? If you trade into a Tomb Pillager, it allows you to coin out SX7 agent, but that doesn't do a whole lot. You don't have a... Yeah, you don't have a kill with an SI7 agent.
And then you don't have the coin next turn to be able to get a Gadgetzan rolling.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a chance that you have to actually just kind of deviate from this plan. I kind of like possibly pushing damage and then making, because Powder has to trade, and then you get the coin, you have Gadgetzan to kind of like regain some value if you don't find a way to kill him. Like if you pick up an Eviscerate, then the whole game changes.
Yeah, force the Warrior to be the one that's making the trades, and I really like this setup here by RDU because he's putting himself in a great position to win. And Fireworks picked up, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best draw. It looks like this turn is just going to be a revenge play. Just trade both in and revenge.
Yeah. That Bloodhoof Brave, I was going to say, you have to be as defensive as possible now. I mean, you're at 13. RDU's been pushing so much damage, it's been so aggressive that you have to be worried that you're going to die soon. And you know there's a 10 damage combo for 6 mana in this deck too. Second Sap picked up, that could be pretty big against these Taunters.
Yeah. So he could sap SI7 agent here.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking as well too. Get in another damage with your weapon here is possible as well. I mean, you've already used a Deadly Poison, so there's a chance there's not another buff in your deck.
And if he does sap SI7 agent, then and hit with the dagger, next turn Powder would have to armor up in order to get out of range, because next turn with the coin RDU has 8 total mana, which means he has enough to sap Leroy and Coldblood in the same turn. So Powder has to armor up here.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough to Blood to Ichor, Execute, plus armor up and Bloodhoof Brave. So I think there's a chance he's going to Bloodhoof Brave here, and this is actually going to be enough.
That's lethal again. RDU is just on a roll. This is absurd.
Yeah, Powder's reaction is going to be pretty bad to this, and I've got a feel for the guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. So he saps Leroy.
Yeah, it's 8 mana, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah.
Cold Bloods, that's 10, 11. So...
Powder's saying to himself, there's no way I'm dead here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Powder, you have another game to play. Don't throw anything.
Yeah. That is... I mean, that's beyond brutal. Powder's just...
You've got a feel for him, right?
He's in physical pain right now, it looks like.
I'm in physical pain watching this.
Yeah. And that is 5 losses on the day now with Control Warrior. And now RDU just has Tempo Mail. Tempo Mail's left to win. And it feels like RDU is, the more uncomfortable he gets with how much he's beating Powder, like the more water he drinks, like he's like shifty, like looking around like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's just funny how like the stark contrast between these two. You know, Powder is practically sliding out of his chair because it's just getting so ridiculous, and RDU is just super focused, like, all right, we got, win one more. Let's not get reverse swept here. Oh man, you've just got to. I mean, and Powder's like, this deck has to win a game, right? Yeah. This Control Warrior has to win at some point. You'd think it has to.
You would think that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could be proven wrong. There's no law anywhere that says it has to win a game. The Hearthstone gods are very cruel sometimes.
Yeah.
Talking to you, Inbred.
There's one card that Tempo Mage has that is just the bane of Warrior's existence.
Oh, do tell.
And it rhymes with Farter Elemental.
Would it be Water Elemental?
That's it. That's the one. That's the card.
And is there going to be one on turn 3 and on turn 4 in this matchup? Is that what's about to happen?
I think so. And
I don't see a lot of clean ways for Powder to answer Water Elemental here.
Nope.
And you gotta believe RDU is just going to coin in this guy out here. This is a really hard card for Warrior decks to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. He does have Bloodhoof Brave, but it's going to meet it. Ooh.
I'll say Ravaging Ghoul
Execute is fantastic.
Yeah, pretty good pickup from Powder here. I was about to actually say, he really needs to draw an Execute here, but came into his hand a little too fast for me to even keep up.
Mm-hmm. Is this going to be the game? Can Powder actually win with Control Warrior?
Alright, let's see if you can kill a second Water Elemental. I'll say Shield Slam off the top of it, pretty good. I mean, this allows him to kill it if he wants to.
Yeah, and I think even if you're going to be frozen for next turn, you take this opportunity and you kill that sucker.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. You don't want to let that guy sit around.
Yeah.
And I like just armoring up over Shield Block here. You want to make sure that you have enough armor to be able to Shield Block, Shield Slam later to kill some minions like Azure Drake. Archmage Antonidas added to RDU's hand, so he's got that late game kind of shored up. He's just going to look to push as much damage as he can here in the middle of the game. Powder maybe setting up a possible brawl here the next turn, depending on how much RDU pushes, because you got to believe that this Bloodhoof Brave is going to meet a Fireball. I mean, it does push in a ton of damage here. If you Fireball, you get 2 more off of Flamewaker, you get to attack.
You can even just Cold Sorcerer and Frostbolt.
I was actually about to say that, yeah. You can get the second. Yeah, that's actually maybe a little bit better because Fireball is just worth so much damage later in the game.
But you could also just Fireball the Bloodhoof Brave and then Frostbolt the face to get off the armor and to freeze the weapon for another turn.
I do like aggressively freezing weapons in these matchups because you typically can't win the super long games in this matchup. You win the ones where like you're constantly pressuring them. And then you just find enough to kill them later in the game.
Yeah.
He's going to attack first? Okay. Well, this is... Franker Z thinks that's aggressive.
Yeah, and my Franker Z is more powerful than your Franker Z.
He's probably a lot
closer.
Bigger.
Oh, man.
He's probably also a lot larger, too.
Yeah. Quite a bit. But
My dog is quite small.
Yeah. Another freeze. And this is not a good board for Powder. He's going to have to try and find some removal with this shield block. Is he going to find it? Or Stephen Fromm is not it.
I kind of like the trades that RDU made last turn. It plays around Brawl a good bit. Good heads-up play from RDU there. It's a good turn. You can kind of take off a little bit here in Arcane Intellect. Kind of set up for the late game. Find some of your cheap spells to pair with Archmage Antonidas. Because if you Faceless Summoner here and there's a Brawl, I mean, like, you could start to lose the game from here.
Yeah.
And it's a really good reload after Brawl, puts 2 minions into play. Plus, I mean, you might just find like a second Arcane Intellect here, and that's like a really good use of this turn. Yeah, I don't mind playing Flamewaker here either.
Yeah.
I mean, one of these minions will be left over after Brawl. If it's the 2/4 Flamewaker, it actually survives the War Axe here. as well. I guess he could blood to Icar plus War Axe.
And if he brawls this turn and doesn't develop anything, that gives RDU sort of free reign to play that faceless summoner without and know that it's not going to meet an answer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's going to have a lot of tempo created from this turn. I mean, he's going to be playing big threat after big threat for the next few turns. Mm-hmm. And Powder's hand is not great from here. Like, I mean, he might just slam an Archthief Rafam here next turn, and then Archmage Antonidas might get some value. That's a 5/2.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's going to get Bull Dickard and traded into, but still.
Yeah, but that means that the...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you still just slam Archthief Rafam here. I mean, when else are you gonna ever be able to play this card?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're gonna be under pressure here. I mean, this is one of the better turns that you have a chance to play this card.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, you're at a high enough life total that it's gonna be pretty hard for you to lose. Like, okay, what if Fireball comes off the top? That's 12, 17, 20. Yeah, you can't even die to double Fireball here. Mm-hmm. You've already seen some Frost Bolts, so... All right, well, he's got another cheap spell here for Antonidas, but I don't know if he pulled the trigger on that just yet.
No, I think Polymorph plus trade in and push 10 damage is pretty good, because then next turn you could Archmage Antonidas, Frost Bolt, and Arcane Blast. You have 3 Fireballs in your hand.
Yeah. You could just do this and Archmage Antonidas Frost Bolt as well.
Okay, yeah, this sort of gets the ball rolling quite a bit quicker. And
also, you've already seen an Execute.
Oh, no.
Do you have to take the 50-50 here? Yeah, I mean, like, there's a chance you have to, right?
It's not really Antonidas sit around. He can make it a 33% chance. He could throw in Harrison Jones as well.
Yeah, that's true. That actually might be the play, is Harrison Jones brawl here. Or you can just Blood Dicker, too, if you don't want to use your Harrison Jones.
Oh yeah, that works the same. That way you can fit in an armor up as well. But this is going to be a huge brawl. We'll see if Powder can finally catch a break. No!
Oh, I was going to say, Antonidas lives here, Powder might disconnect. Like, this might be the final straw for him.
Oh my god.
He's taking his gear off. I mean, I feel for this guy because this is unbelievable. Look at RDU just kind of dancing a little bit. I love it. But he's going to get the Mana Worm double Fireball this turn if he wants to. I mean... I don't think Powder can come back from this, right?
No. There's absolutely no way. You get infinite. You get infinite fireballs here. He's even gonna
ping his guy. Yeah.
Ping his guy. So he just has fireballs for the next forever turns. And Powder's checked out of this game. He's done.
TJ, I didn't just mean for this game. I mean like for the next week. I don't know if Powder can come back from this.
Yeah. I mean, he even tweeted out before that he thought he played pretty well. He just got the short end of the straw. And that's going to be RDU taking a 4-0 victory. And wow, that was an impressive perforance.
Yeah, I feel for Powder. I really, really do. I mean, look at his face right there. I mean, I'm kind of glad we shifted the camera off of him. We don't need to show the body after the massacre of what just happened in this match. And I really feel for Powder. I've been on the other end of that myself before in competitive gaming before, and it never feels good. But he's a professional. He'll dust himself off. He'll probably do great in the next event that he plays in because that eliminates him from this tournament, right?
Yeah, that was an elimination match, so he's out. He doesn't have a chance to move on. RDU will move through the lower bracket, but since he lost his first match, it means he's going to have to win quite a bit more to move on. We're actually going to take a look at the brackets right now. So he's going to face the loser of the first winners match that's going to take place tomorrow. So that'll be a pretty good matchup. And